from the opening of Sikh scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib. Ekyamkar, Satnam, Karta Purakh, Nirpaw, Nirvair, Akal Murad, Ajuni, Sarpan, Gurprasad. One universal integrated force identified by truth. The pervasive creator, fearless, without enmity. Timeless being, unborn. Self-illumined, realized by the grace of Guru, the infinite wisdom. It's an honor to be here today as part of this celebration of the great legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the message of love, dignity, justice for all that he so passionately championed, lived, and died for. 21st century Sikh Americans take great pride in how far societies have come in embracing those ideals. But there are still so many avenues where good and productive work needs to be done to eradicate racism and discrimination in our world. There is no room for complacency, lest a single death or an abuse of power ends up merely being a statistic. Dr. King urged all people to celebrate each other as divinely created individuals and to recognize that bigotry and prejudice are forms of hate, but they are forms of hate with education and open hearts we can move away from with small but steady steps. Part of Dr. King's dream was that his 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This dream has not been always mere simple words, but an idea that resonates across space and time. And it is the one we must keep alive and try to. Dr. King would want us to ponder these questions. Are we speaking up for those who are most fiercely discriminated against at this point in time? Are we willing to stand up for rights of Muslims and other people who look like Arabs? Are we willing to embrace and champion causes which may not be our own, but to find the courage to do it because we know it in our heart that it is right? During the fight for civil rights of African Americans, Dr. King and many others faced down those who stood on the wrong side of history, who met their message of peace and tolerance with bombs, fire hoses, dogs, and most hateful words that people can spew at each other. Today, calls of go back to your own country and love it or leave it still break hearts and wounds the souls of so many who have legally embraced U.S. homeland. Following the attacks of 9/11, many Sikh Americans were shot, their houses and places of worship attacked, and our children learned too young to cringe away from hateful names thrown in their names. Names like raghead or Sam. We are stereotyped as terrorists because of the color of our skin and articles of our faith like the beard, the turban, and the kirpan. This evokes unwarranted fear and anxiety among too many people who don't understand and may consider these important and time-honored symbols of our deepest belief and spiritual commitment as unmodern or even un-American. Sikhs believe that every individual is born sovereign and divine, and thus worthy of dignity and protection. Our scriptures envision a society without sorrow, where there are no second-class citizens, and there are no undue burdens, where all are friends who experience the divine presence equally among them. Sikhi strongly opposes hegemony and exclusivity, showing zero tolerance for race and gender bias, and asks for more than a spiritual commitment, a commitment to manifest those ideals in daily practice and to make a difference in their communities. On behalf of the Sikh Research Institute, the Sikhs in Texas, and everywhere, I take this opportunity to thank Vaheguru, the Divine, for giving us a chance to reflect off the past and look towards a future, a bright future, where we will work to realize in small and large ways the timeless dream of Dr. King. In closing, I'd like to quote a few lines of the Sikh scripture translated in English, which highlights this message. First, Divine created the light, and then all beings of the nature. From one light, the whole world has originated. Then who is good and who is bad? Elsewhere, it says, now the compassionate one has issued its command. Let no one chase after and attack anyone else. Let all abide in peace under this benevolent rule. May Vaheguru give us the strength and wisdom to build an inclusive society and take everyone along this path towards peace, prosperity, and universal love. Thank you very much.